This video is about me having my time completely wasted, right? And not on my drive. Roll the titles. Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're enjoying the content. If you are, ting! Somewhere over there, you will find a button. It's not actually a button, but you know what I mean. If you have come back to this channel and you were enjoying watching it, then drop a subscribe because we're nearing on 2K, 2,000 subscribers. I'm not sure I ever thought it was actually going to get to 2,000. And listen, I get it. That's still a relatively small channel. But the way I look at it is, if there was 2,000 people sitting in a room, that's a reasonable amount of people. So in a previous life, I used to host evening with, with ex-footballers and on the mic, basically. And, I used to have crowds up to 750 in a room. Up to 1,000, I think, was the highest one I ever did. But even then, that's not 2,000. So we're beating that as well. Anyway, I just thought I'd share that with you because if you are coming back and you're not subscribed, then it would be really good if you could subscribe. Get us to that 2K mark, and then we'll push on to 3 and 4, and we'll just see where this goes. You're clearly enjoying the content, most of you, because I'm getting quite a lot of repeat comments now and people coming back. Quite a lot of new subscribers to one of the old videos about 3 weeks ago, maybe. Funnily enough, a time waster video, which is what this one's about too. So less of all that rubbish and let's get into the actual story. So I said in the intro that my time wasn't wasted on my drive. That's absolutely correct. And by the way, majority of the time when I do get time wasted is on my drive. This time it wasn't. So because I was struggling to get anything in the auctions, I decided to do a Facebook market search. I've just heard you do that. Yeah. Boom. Or should we say, as Danny Boy calls it, the Wild West of cars. It definitely is the Wild West of cars. So I thought, where do I start? I'm going to start in some nice towns, villages, where I think there might be some nice people that actually might just be genuinely getting rid of their cars because they've upgraded or whatever. This particular advert I'm talking about was exactly that. So a middle-aged lady, say middle-aged, maybe 50. Hope she doesn't watch this and she's only 30. Let's say she's 50-ish. And I turn up. Well, first of all, I message her. What I've got to do here, right, is remember what really pisses me off. Right, so if I can remember all that and use the correct etiquette and all that, then actually should be all right. And I'm also not being a hypocrite by doing things that I hate people to do. So I thought, right, I'm going to go. I'll message her first, but I'm going to go and I'll be on my best behavior. And, I will try and get the car for the right price. Not necessarily a low price, just the right price of what the car's worth. That's what I was going to view. So I was going to view a 2010 plate Kia Picanto. The old shape, the ugly one. But it was in white. And I thought, do you know what? That's probably, a reasonable seller for a cheapie. Yeah, so this wouldn't have been on sale for more than probably 1,795 or something like that. Yeah, so it was a cheapie. It done 75,000 miles, I think it was. 75, 76, something like that. No mention of any service history. No mention of MOT or anything like that, but obviously I checked it and it had no advisories. So I'm thinking, it's not a bad start. And even at a cheapie, if it hasn't got any service history, I'll just service it and then I can advertise it as recently serviced or just serviced. And as long as it runs all right, then we should be all right. So it wasn't too far to travel. So I messaged her the day before and just said, look, can I come and have a look at this car? No, I didn't put, is this still available? No, I didn't do that. I put, can I come have a look at this car? And she didn't respond straight away. It was about 2 hours later, she put, yes. So it was almost like when you get a really awkward buyer, one-word answers. This was the same in reverse. I was dead keen on this car. I was like, yeah, let's go. Dead excited. And this is my point I'm going to make next. I am getting so excited about these older, boring little cars. I'm reevaluating, and I'm going to go back to, to trying to get the older ones, because it's something that I actually get excited about. Yeah, I've seen a few like 2008, 2009, 2010 cars that are little gems. Some of them have one owner from new, some are two owners, some are like nearly full dealer histories. Sad, I know, but I'm getting excited about these cars. I want to buy these cars. And then I also think lately I've got a little bit lazy with some of the things I've been doing. So I want to get back, now the weather's turning again. Well, say that, it's pretty dreary today, but the weather is going to start to turn shortly, which means I can start doing like proper full details. A little bit like I did on the Capture, which I am now sat in now. And it feels lovely and it smells lovely. I want to wow them customers when they come and go, oh my God, I cannot leave without this car. Whereas some of when I go to the car wash or whatever, it's, even though I'll carry on and do a little bit better, it's not as good as if I just do it all myself in my methodical way. So, there's certain people have different routines of cleaning a car. I always do the interior first. Yeah, give it a hoover, a clean, then, do all the plastics with the finishing touches. Then I'll wash the exterior. People might do it the other way around. I ain't going to change now. It's the way I've always done it. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Go back to, full cleans, full details. So the customers come and they're just wowed. Because that's what's happened in the past. Even on a 2010 car, I've had comments like, my God, this looks like brand new. 2010 plate car that was on. It had only done 30,000 miles, but still, it was a great comment that I've probably forgot how that makes some customers feel. And the buy-in percentage of buyers has probably gone down. I was on a strike rate of about 99%. If you view the car, you buy the car. That's fallen. That has fallen more lately. So I'm going to put that down to laziness, maybe. The prep, the time. Maybe I'm biting off too much. Maybe I'm trying to, get through too many cars. And maybe I just need to slow the process down slightly and spend a little bit more quality time on making sure these vehicles are as absolutely, you can eat your dinner off them. And even when I'm saying they're not as good, they're still really good. I'm still getting comments, oh my God, these are better than if I went to a showroom. So I'm still really happy with the comments. I just think that I can probably do better. Anyway, let's go back to the Picanto story and finish that story. So one thing that really drives me nuts is when people turn up late. So I definitely wasn't going to do that. So I turned up 10 minutes early for this car and sat on the roadside and watched the lady move cars about, which is fine. But on the dot, 11:30, I was on her drive. Went up to the door. The door was like slightly ajar anyway, so I didn't really want to knock. It was a son that was leaving, so he came out and then she came out. He went, I don't know where he went, but she obviously came and said hello to me. I said, I'm here to have a look at the car. She went, yeah, no problem. Here's the key. Help yourself. And I thought, that's a bit odd. She went back in the house. I'm thinking, I could be doing anything to this car. Anyway, I started to have a look. Didn't really touch anything to do with the engine or anything like that. To start with, I was just looking at the interior, and it was all right. It was, like I said, 2010 plate, 70-odd thousand miles, with apparently no mention of anything in the advert. Oh, apart from the advert did say, new exhaust in 2025. So it was a really basic advert with some pretty poor pictures, which I like. Yeah, because if they can't market the car properly, then obviously they're going to be expecting less money. This car was cheap, right? Well, it was cheap in the grand scheme of cars, but I don't think it was cheap for what it was. So it was up for 1,200 quid. as a private sale, and I think from a dealer sale, well, Auto Trader said this is worth 18,950, this car, so it wasn't worth 1,200 quid as a private sale. Definitely with no service history. Anyway, the lady came back out, and I said, oh, am I all right to quickly start it? Yeah, no problem. So I started it. I only wanted to run a little bit just to get the oil through so I could check the oil properly. But what I did, as soon as I opened the bonnet, I felt, this engine's warm. And I don't like looking at cars with warm engines. It's almost like, I don't think she was trying to hide anything. I just think she didn't really know what she was doing in terms of selling cars, which is fine because it's just a private sale anyway. So I said, when have you been using this car? She went, yeah, I last used it on Thursday, which would have been 2 days ago. I said, oh, it's just the engine's warm. She went, oh, I've ran it this morning. Okay. She didn't mention that she was just moving the cars around. She's like, oh, I've just ran it to make sure it was all right. But this engine was, this is 11:30, right? So this engine was still warm. So I'm beginning to think that she'd had it on for a fair bit in the morning. So I checked the oil. Oil was fine. But what I did do was take the oil cap off. So you'll all know what condensation on a cap looks like. And then some of you will probably have seen what I call sludge. Yeah, the latte slug, which is basically a big strip all in the oil cap. Normally that dictates head gasket failure is on way. But I'm not saying it was because I don't know, but it definitely had a lot of sludge. And if that car was used for a decent run, like she said on Thursday, I wouldn't expect that to be there. Condensation, I might expect to be there if the car hadn't been used, but this was like sludge with like a caramel stripe through it. So I'm like, ugh. So no, have you got that? Have you got any service history? Oh, I'm not sure. All right. I said, what about the logbook? Logbook? What do you mean? This pack? And she had like the book pack. I was like, no, the logbook's like a 2-page document. Well, it's actually, what is it? A 3-page document, but it looks red on the top. She's like, oh, no, I've got this. And she gave me the green slip. Before you say, I am more than aware you can buy a car with a green slip, but I just don't like to. I don't like going to the post office and doing the V62. I don't like faffing around. I also like the logbook because it tells you the correct owners and everything on there. If you buy the car without that on that green slip, you don't see any of that. So I like a logbook. So I wasn't probably going to buy this car anyway because of the logbook situation. Explained to her how she could rectify that for the next person that came to see it. So look, you can order a reprint, etc. She's like, well, this is my daughter's car, so I'm just selling it for her because she's upgraded to a DS. And I was like, oh no, God, she'd be better with a Kia Picanto. But maybe there's a reason she's upgrading. I said, right, and what about service history? She's like, no, I've got nothing. I was like, but you said there was a new exhaust. Yeah, we put a new exhaust on it. I said, okay, have you got any receipts for that? No. Right, and at this point, the ground was wet, and I'm like, I'm not buying this car anyway. Why am I going to get down on my knees and steady? Why am I going to get down on my knees and have a look under there? I'm just not. I said, look, listen, I really appreciate your time, but this car's not for me. And she got right grumpy. Oh, right, well... But the thing is, I showed her everything without I wasn't being a dick either. I was showing her to educate her rather than go, this car's crap because da-da-da-da. If you want a crap car, just add a few things that I didn't like. So I told her what to do for the next buyer, told her to get the logbook because that's quite an important piece of selling a car, really. So yeah, it was dead nice and then sharply left. Now, my point was, my time was completely wasted, but not because she was trying to pull the wool over my eyes, just she doesn't know what she was doing. So the advert was terrible, right? The pictures were terrible. The car cleanliness was not great. No service history and no logbook. Complete waste of time. None of that, she said. In fairness to her, I didn't ask anything either because I didn't want to be too intrusive, like asking loads of questions on Messenger, like the keyboard warriors do. I was quite cautious not to ask loads of questions because she was very slow at typing back anyway. So I didn't want to do any of that. And because it was quite close to me, I was like, right, sod it, I'll just go have a look. Knowing full well my time could be wasted, but I was prepared for that. So I suppose what I'm saying is, even when you're looking at cars from the buyer's perspective, you can have your time wasted by a poor seller. Like I do, sometimes I'm a good seller and I'll get my time wasted by poor buyers. So it's both fronts. Job's knackered, innit? These people. I'm not moaning about this lady because she clearly just did not know what she was doing, and probably needed a little bit of support from whose car it actually was, i.e. the daughter who'd lost all the documents. That is not going to help her sell that car. But the car was not worth the money that she was asking for anyway, so I didn't buy it. So I was right excited as well. I was dead excited about it because, like I said earlier in the video, I'm getting really excited about older cars. I think, I'm looking forward to seeing what we can get on the channel that's just that little bit older, probably a little bit more exciting rather than the run-of-the-mill, and a bit of nostalgia as well. Not as old as like the Nova or the Mini that I had. I'm just talking, like maybe 2006, 7, 8, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, something like that. And I'll have a few still newer ones, but, I do like it when I get the older ones. So I thought I'd just find a random one at BCA to vehicle score, WF06 VPJ. It's a Renault Clio that's pretty damn old, 06 plate at 585 is the score. Now this car is being sold with no report from BCA, and it looks reasonably straight. Now, if you look at the checks that Vehicle Score can do, look at that full history check there for 1845. It covers absolutely everything you could think of. On this particular car, the bad bits is only because it's gone over 100k. It's done 106k. The rest of it is phenomenally good on paper. And it's got no report, like I said, at BCA. The mileage is pretty good for the age. The best thing about this car is it's had 13 MOTs in its life, and every single one is a pass, 100% pass rate. And the other thing that I was thinking, I really like it when I can supply a car that's really cheap, but I know is good, for the customer. I think that's a really nice feeling, especially if the kind of first-time driver cars, the youth of today, rocking up and buying their first car. It does feel pretty special when you can help people do that. So I think that's where I'm going with it. And hopefully you've enjoyed this video, but it was just a little update really of what I've been getting up to, and the fact that, I'm going to try to change back to kind of early days cars on my drive, where we're getting a bit older stock. Who knows? It's quite hard to come by. So we might end up with another Fiat 500 next. We might end up with another, Fiesta next or whatever. But hold that thought, because this is, as I'm thinking, I'm speaking. So, we'll just have to see how it goes. But thank you once again for watching. Thank you, everyone, for the new subscribers, the old subscribers, any subscriber. And hopefully you can help us get to 2,000. So share the video, swipe the hype, smash the like, all that kind of stuff. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Goodbye.